we're here to bring a new type of news show.
New insights, new styles, and new topics every day.
We are News Generation.
Bringing news just for you. It's Wednesday, June 24th here in Seoul. I'm Lee Soo-jin, and this is News Generation. Joining us today is Kyle.
Good to be here.
Good to have you, and also Kim is with us.
It's great to be back.
And both are here to speak on behalf of people in their 20s and 30s. So we're now right in the middle of the work week, and maybe you could use a little help getting through the rest of it. So with AI and robotics advancing fast, let's imagine having the perfect helper by your side. So Kyle, to kick off our discussion today, what kind of robot assistant would you ideally like to have?
So if there were AI-powered robots that can think themselves, I would love to have them work for me and generate some side incomes. Since my current job doesn't involve manual labor, so they wouldn't be able to help me with my work directly, but I would never say no to extra back, so. There's so much we could do if physical AI advances. Honestly, these businesses already exist today, but it would be amazing to use robots to automate delivery services, run building cleaning operations, or manage robot taxi to create steady stream of revenue.
Getting the extra cash without actually you having to do the work sounds quite nice, actually. So what about you, Kyun?
For me, a household helper robot would come in super handy, as I'm a person who puts a lot of importance in household chores. So if a robot assistant can kind of reduce the time and effort that I need to put in and do a lot of repetitive household chores, I would definitely be willing to pay a decent amount of money to purchase one. To be honest, I don't mind doing housework when I do have the time, but when I don't have the time, when I'm busy and looking at my house, just a lot of stuff to do piling up, it gives me a lot of stress. So I think a robot would come in very handy. But I did actually watch a few videos of these humanoid robots doing household chores. It looked pretty cool and impressive, but at the same time, their movements seem a little, there's a lot of room for improvement, definitely. And in terms of speed as well, looking at it, in Koreans, you would say 답답하다. You become very frustrated. I'll rather do it myself. But then definitely, they're making great advancements. I'm pretty sure they'll work more on the speed of these humanoid robots working at home. But yeah, obviously, we're heading into an era where these physical AIs they're going to come really connected to our daily lives, and I'll be looking forward to one of these cool, fast humanoid robots, cleaners at home soon.
It's quite interesting how Kyle said he wants them to do side hustles for him. For you, it's cleaning, so it can still
we're very different.
So it's not that people necessarily hate doing chores, having them pile up when life gets busy, that becomes stressful. So it sounds like convenience rather than companionship is where robots could possibly make the biggest impact first. So we're going to talk more about this, but first, let's take a look at the screen. It's clear that the rapid rise of AI is already reshaping life as we know it, changing the way we work, communicate, and even think about what's possible. And many now say the next phase of the AI hypercycle will be humanoid robots. Machines designed not just to process information, but to move, act, and interact in the physical world much like humans do. Today on News Generation, we take a closer look at the fast-moving development of real-world humanoid robots, whether robots could one day replace humans, and what life might look like in a humanoid robot era. Just as we saw in the video, what once felt like science fiction is quickly becoming science fact. So first, how quickly are humanoid robots becoming a reality? Because it seems such a faraway concept.
It did, but what seemed like a distant future could now be just a few years away, looking at the rapid advancement of robotics. Now, according to the Korea Institute of Machine and Materials, which is under the National Research Council of Science and Technology, the era of physical AI, where artificial intelligence was just seen through screens, producing text and images, is now moving on to an era where we see physical AI, so these artificial intelligence taking the form of a physical body. In fact, Tesla's Optimus and Unitree's G1 are actually on their way to achieving mass-produced models where they can be immediately deployed in factories and warehouses at a fairly affordable price, which is around 20,000 US dollars. Now, I said fairly affordable, but it's still very expensive. But they are now actually capable of just sorting parcels in factories, picking up trash, or even like heavy luggage. In fact, we're seeing robots who are now able to run marathons and even 100-meter sprints under 10 seconds, which is only a few milliseconds away from the world record of Usain Bolt, which is 9.58 seconds. So these are just amazing things. Like even the things that we saw on the screen, we see robots boxing or even dancing to music, choreography, things like that. So things that we didn't really imagine a few years back, it's becoming reality. And just, who knows, a few years down the track, we'll see even more like human-like robots in our lives.
Right. So especially considering how recently these technologies were considered futuristic, all of this is quite impressive. And obviously Korea too is hoping to be a major player in this race. So what role is Korea aiming to play in the role of humanoid robots?
So right now, Korea is moving very fast to become a top leader in the global humanoid race by shifting from laboratory research to real-world business. So according to the government's new K-Moon projects, like K as Korea, and the moonshot is like discovering a new world as like Apollo projects back in the day. So Korea is investing over 50 billion Korean won to build a highly advanced Korean AI humanoid platform. To achieve this, Korea Institute of Science and Technology is leading the country's biggest robotic project, bringing together industry giants like LG Electronics, top universities like Seoul National University, and major hospitals. So instead of just making robots for tech shows, Korea focuses on practical use every day. By 2029, they plan to deploy about 20 advanced humanoid robots directly into real hospitals to help with medical and caregiving tasks. By combining smart AI with safe battery technology, Korea aims to lead the future of automated services.
So it is fascinating to see countries and companies racing to bring these robots to life. But perhaps a bigger question is not whether they can, but whether they should. So we're going to talk about whether robots could ever replace humans and whether you would want them to. So let's see where our panelists stand on some possible roles robots could play in our future with our OX paddles. So the first one is, will robots handle dangerous tasks like combat, disaster, and rescue? So Kyun, do you want to talk about this first?
With this one. If we consider drones as robots, then they have already entered the battlefields in war zones, capable of destroying not only buildings but humans alike. Although they were not made for this specific purpose from the very beginning, humans are actually utilizing this kind of technology into war zones, which is, I guess, not the right way to go, but we're seeing examples of drones being used in combats. But in terms of disaster rescue, I would like to see more robots in the front lines, rescuing people in dangerous disaster zones. Because, like the traditional rescuers like firefighters, they're always risking their own lives in order to save other people's lives. So if we can kind of replace that with robots, I think we're heading in the right way in terms of using robotics in our daily lives.
Right, so hopefully this won't be a controversial comment to me, but better robot life lost than human life, right? So what are your thoughts on this?
So as I would say to this question, also, as Kiyu mentioned, so we are already witnessing a battlefield where humans do not engage in direct combat. A prime example is the continuous chain of wars that broke out since after a post-pandemic era. So where we have seen drones being actively and heavily utilized right now. So the countries involved in these conflicts have collected a massive amount of data on how drones, and by extension, robots, are used in combats. So whether we like it or not, in the near future, it will become a common sight on the battlefield to see these robots executing attacks in dangerous environments and also rescuing people from harm's way.
Especially since there are so many wars going on right now, it'll be interesting to see what role robots play in the future and how it changes warfare. And for our second question, so in the movie, the 2013 movie Her, starring Joaquin Phoenix, where a man falls in love with an AI, could robots one day become our pets, companions, or even lovers? So Kyun, what are your thoughts on this?
No, not quite yet. I mean, I do see the possibility with pet robots and companions, but there is still a lot of limitations. Although we can become attached and grow a sense of kind of affection towards, AI, but I don't think it can ever fully replace real humans nor animals' uniqueness and the emotions that comes with, humans and animals. Now, if we compare it to wearing, let's say, perhaps wearing knockoffs or like replicas of luxury brands. Although we may seem very, well off on the outside, on the surface, deep inside, the more knockoffs you wear on a daily basis, you'll grow a sense of emptiness inside because you'll realize, oh, I can never really afford these expensive luxury brands. But then people might perceive you as someone who's like really wealthy, but you're the only one who knows deep inside, oh, this is all fake. So I think if we can kind of use this as an example, that kind of explains my answer.
Fair enough. So what are your thoughts on this?
I guess I see more possibilities on this question. So I think we are already witnessing people turning to AI to open up and share their deepest emotions right now. So as time goes on, the intensity and the frequency of human-to-human interaction are steadily decreasing. So in the future, maybe like not our generation, but like, I don't know, the past, I don't know, like the current generation, maybe Gen Alpha or even younger, people who have grown completely used to this environment. And then like emotional distance might heavily rely on AI, like more than us. So which can be perfectly tailored just for them to soothe their loneliness. So right now, the interactions with AI are limited to text and voice. So it's still a bit uncanny. But however, once technology advances enough to stimulate or fulfill other human senses, then people might fall even deeper into it.
I mean, that is true. People do, talk about their deepest secrets and consult AI. So it will be interesting to see how that develops.
And there's even also like AI-generated idols.
Oh,
and
yeah.
there's a huge fan base in that as well. And there are also like AI-generated girlfriends and boyfriends.
Yes.
You can actually create your own kind of boyfriend and
They're
girlfriend.
tailored towards
your needs
So
and
that
your
could be quite
wants.
addicting. So our last question is, like in the 2024 South Korean film Wonderland, where people reconnect with deceased loved ones through AI, could robots replace loved ones that we've lost? So Kyun, what are your thoughts on this?
Yeah, to a certain point, yes. If it's that fond memory of a loved one that if it's something that you want to cherish, that you can't let go or kind of move on from, I think using AI, it can act as a representation. Now, through deep learning and database, the image of the deceased can seem quite real, and in turn, it can help that person to kind of overcome their big loss. And I actually saw a documentary where a person was going through a similar situation with, I think she lost her son, and what they did was they created AI-generated form of her son, and she was actually able to see and kind of interact with her deceased son. And she said she felt a big sense of comfort through actually seeing her son through those screens. And I thought, oh, maybe there is kind of a possibility of one person being able to keep that memory of a deceased loved family. And I guess there is a possibility, but for me, I'm not quite sure yet. So that's why I said it to a certain point, yes.
I know you said earlier that you're not really sure whether AI could become like a companion, but I guess for this, because it's someone you've actually known before. So I think that would make
it's kind of different because if you've known someone, especially a family member and someone you cannot really forget for the rest of your life, you want to keep that memory.
Alive.
Using AI, I mean, that could definitely help through what we've seen in that movie. Yeah.
Right. So what are your thoughts on this?
I have different view on these questions because I believe that there's a massive line between creating a AI girlfriend that like purely fictional character and the replicating a real person who actually lived before. So when using AI to interact with the deceased loved ones, there's a chance that the AI will act or speak in a way that completely contradicts the person's true belief or wishes in life that they had before. So I see this as a serious moral problem. So if living people can just tweak and adjust a deceased loved one's traits however they want to suit their own needs, it stops being a tribute. It feels like an insult to their memory.
I find for that, for sure, I guess that there is a very strong ethical side that we have to consider
Yeah.
for that. So it seems there's broad agreements when it comes to robots taking on dangerous jobs. So once they start entering our emotional lives, that's where opinions really begin to diverge. So whether as companions or even stand-ins for loved ones we've lost, the closer robots get to being human, the more complicated the questions become. And that's why we also wanted to hear directly from our viewers. So we ran a poll on the Arirang YouTube channel asking if highly capable robots become available, what kind would you want? And here's what the results showed. So nearly 3/4 of respondents, or 73%, chose a robot that could handle household chores. Another 14% said they would prefer a personal assistant robot, while 8% opted for a cute companion robot. And just 5% said they would want a robot that provides emotional support, suggesting that people are currently more interested in practical help than emotional companionship. So what's striking for me personally is that practicality still outweighs companionship when it comes to robots, and it appears most people want robots to take chores off their hands, not take over their relationships. And to get a deeper perspective on this, we're going to be joined by someone working in the field of physical AI who will soon begin his PhD in humanoid robotics. And that conversation will take place right after the break, so don't go anywhere.
NewsGen wants to hear from you. Go to YouTube and search out channel Arirang News. Click Posts and cast your vote in the poll. Make a new type of news with us.
We're joined now by Chung Bin, an AI master student at Yonsei University, LG AI research intern, and incoming PhD student in human robotics at UPenn. So hello, thank you so much for connecting with us today.
Hi, nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you too. So Chung Bin, how quickly are humanoid robots advancing across industries such as healthcare or manufacturing?
So the main difference between humanoids and industrial robotic arms is that humanoids have the potential to become generalists. And by generalist, I mean a robot that can do any task that a human can do. And actually, this is the reason why humanoids were so hard to use in the industry. But with the advancement of physical AI, these problems are being solved. And I think definitely these humanoids use in the industry is becoming faster and faster. And I think they will become more accelerated. And I'm not sure about healthcare because they require very high precision tasks and someone to take responsibility. But for industries like manufacturing, humanoids can be actually utilized without changing the workplace that humans were working. And actually, this is a huge advantage because companies don't have to build factories tailored for certain manufacturing robots from scratch. And so, and moreover, physical AI gives humanoids the ability to make long-term plans or make important decisions and in a safe way. And so the field is definitely accelerating, and I think it has huge potential.
Great. Thank you for the insight. And do you see a future where every home has a robot? And if so, what role would they play?
Yes, maybe I am a bit biased because I actually do research in humanoids, and I definitely think that they will come into our households. And like I said, the biggest potential of these humanoids is that they have the potential to become generalists. And so by generalist, anything that a human can do. So I think they will be able to do what any other human will do in a household in the future.
Jongbin, I know you're a big advocate of humanoids in the robotics field. Now, could humanoid robots ever replace humans emotionally, just going beyond physical?
But this is actually a question related to more AI rather than humanoids. And this is actually a very important question in the AI field right now. Can these AI give emotional support just like humans? And in my opinion, I think they could. And the reason is because if you look at recent reports that analyze the use case of these chatbots, one of the top ranking use cases are emotional support. And even I use them for when I have like fight with a friend or something like that. And these models, they only try to simulate human conversation, not really experiencing emotion. But I think it turns out that simulating human conversation is enough for humans to feel emotional support. And because these models will become the brains of these humanoid robots, I think humanoid robots do have the potential to become, to provide emotional support to humans as well. But I don't think they will replace humans completely.
I think you did bring up a great point because I've also used obviously generative AI to get advice on stuff, and it does build trust, which is kind of crazy to think about because it's an AI. So it is really interesting to think about. So thank you so much for sharing your insights with us on this.
Yeah, thank you for the interview.
Thank you.
Thank you. Bye.
So we just spoke with someone currently working in the field of physical AI who gave us an insider to look at how rapidly humanoid robots are advancing. But beyond the technology itself, perhaps a bigger question is how these machines will shape our lives and also our behavior. So how might humanoid robots change the way we live and interact with our people, Kim?
Recently, the Norwegian University's Science and Technology conducted an experiment of humanoids and humans actually playing a game of trash basketball while actually the researchers observed their interactions. And now the study reportedly found that people felt a sense of satisfaction when the robots actually behaved within their level of understanding and expectation. So clearly showing that robots have the potential of becoming humans' companions one day in the future. And furthermore, some clothing companies have already jumped on the bandwagon and started producing various outfits for humanoid robots, not just clothes that make them, look like machines, but actually garments that actually suit to make them appear more like people based on their roles and their environments.
So it seems that as robots become more human-like, we may also start expecting them to act more like us. And while that could bring comfort and convenience, it may also come with risks. So what unintended consequences could humanoid companions bring, Kyle?
So the biggest risk is the weakening of real human connection. Definitely, human relationships are meant to be messy, requiring patience and effort. But however, an AI companion is perfectly tailored to users' every whim, never disagreeing with you. So over time, people might become so used to this frictionless interactions with AI that they find real human contact too exhausting. And another major issue is that when an AI-powered robot causes a safety accident, the legal liability remains highly ambiguous. So it becomes incredibly difficult to determine whether the blame lies with the software developer, the hardware manufacturer, or the user.
So there's still lots to think about when it comes to this. So humanoid robots may soon fold our laundry, keep us company, and perhaps even challenge our ideas about love and loss. But the closer they come to imitating us, the more important it becomes to remember what they can and also cannot replace. So as machines become more human-like, we'll have to decide where the convenience ends and what makes us human begins. And that brings us to the end of today's episode of News Generation. But News Gen will be back tomorrow at 10:30 in Korea time with more stories and discussions. A big thanks to Kyle.
Thanks for having me.
And also Q.
It's always a pleasure.
And to our viewers, thank you so much for watching. If your humanoid roommate ever becomes the favorite child, hopefully it'll be the one doing the chores. We are News Generation.